we're learning. We have to write a scene based on what is it now? It's based on like a characteristic of a person, and yeah, thank you. Perfect. That's all right. That's all right. And so basically, it's got to be just it's more the class we're taking is movement psychology and theory of movement and characteristics. There's a bunch of different character types. So we have to do what's called a near and write a character based on a couple of different types of characters. So there's strong, there's silent, there's human, there's a whole bunch of different ones. So I picked the strong, and I'm here with Eden. Eden's a classmate of mine with me at the Academy of Dramatic Arts, and today we're going to talk about what we did yesterday afternoon, a little bit about how we were acting out that play.
Yeah.
So how did you find it?
Well, first, I mean, the long reading one. Yeah, I found that very interesting, especially when you get a text like that where it's such it's a large piece, but it's such a small piece of the overall play, and you don't really understand the context, but you're just trying your best to bring
What you think?
interpret these characters, even though you have no background of what they actually are like.
Or what the scene is about too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to kind of explain it is they give us what they call two sides of dialogue that's halfway through a scene, and we have to interpretate that. And that's what's so great about a play that I like is that you can interpretate it the way you want it, right? And you can probably do it. Like each person that's done that scene has done it probably differently, right? Which is great. That's why I think theatrical work is so great.
Well, and that's a good point. Also, with before that we did the short sides where it's a script of a few lines each with a partner, and something like that. It's almost just like a blank slate where a few lines is all they give you, and then you fill in, pretty much you fill out the skeleton of this page that. And people get the same script, but everybody does it in a different way.
I liked your guys' rendition of that, where you were yelling and screaming on the floor.
Surgery,
The
surgery, the open stomach surgery, where he's awake for it. Yeah,
it was great. It's like you know what it's like. It's like having a play in front of you every day. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, but then some people took the same scene and did a bumpy bus ride through an earthquake.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's interpreted differently.
Yes.
So I found that
the same dialogue too, right?
Yeah, exact same dialogue. It takes about 30 seconds to do.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
great.
Give us 2 minutes, and everybody interprets it differently.
And then what's interesting too is because then they go, okay, stop, hold it, and then he's like, okay, times that by 10, and then you just do whatever comes to your mind.
Raise the stakes.
And the whole idea is just to do things, make the choices that you need to do to make it extremely dramatic, right?
Yeah.
And like something that you wouldn't normally do, obviously, in real life.
Totally.
Or you would maybe, but.
And I think that too for first day, something like that, where they throw you in and give you these quick scenes.
Yeah.
You have a lot of time to think about what you're going to do or how you're going to do it. It's a good icebreaker to make you comfortable.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if anything else, just a confidence builder in what you can do.
Yeah, that was good. You did a really good job, by the way.
Thank you. You as well.
And then today, we wasn't really doing much today, but more just learning the phonetic alphabet.
I found that so interesting.
Yeah,
really.
And actually my roommate's actually going to school for that.
Oh, is he?
She is going to German school, so she's been talking about that every day, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't deal with this stuff anymore, because this is like grade 5 stuff that I didn't even really know about,
Oh, totally.
I'm surprised they don't teach it in schools, really.
I know, how to use your voice.
So what we're talking about is the
IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet.
Yeah.
And all about how, you actually use sounds and the different dialects and how they use it. I mean, I always wanted to be good at a British accent or British dialect, but I'm awful at it.
Yeah.
right? But I think this gives you the tools to understand
be
how
able
they use
to.
the sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think what I'm going to be looking for is an actually the alphabet, like the phonetic alphabet for the British sounds, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly, yeah.
you can get that apparently, so you can actually, cause like say we're like wall, we say wall, whereas British say wool.
Wool.
You know, Jon Snow was at the wool.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a great second day. Thank you. Oh, and subscribe, it's right down here. Right there. Subscribe. All right, so I'm sitting here with Eden here again on day 3 of our training at the Academy of Dramatic Arts here in Victoria. And what we're going to talk about today is what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
The
Meisner approach. So tell me what your thoughts on that was, Eden.
Well, yeah, very interesting and sort of throwing you right into the fire the second day. So Meisner approach is, at least what we did, is to make you let your guard down, get rid of your mask, and be present for whoever you're working with. And by doing that, allowing you to access, I guess.
Yeah, access to the to the other person too. And, you know, what I found was a lot of people carry that, like you said, they carry their persona with them, right? They have their oh, thanks.
Thank you.
They have their persona. That's mine. Yeah, it's yours. They have their persona, and what they're looking for is you to just kind of like wash that away. I feel anyway, and start with like a neutral slate, so you can build on that to whatever character you want.
Yeah,
right?
you're not bringing in your
your own bullshit, basically. And so I found that really interesting. And the exercises, the repetition, where you're saying one word that comes to your mind when you look at your scene partner.
So, I mean, I guess to set the stage here, you
Yeah.
sit very close together, and
Yeah.
and you go into a neutral position, which means back straight, tension out of your shoulders, and make direct eye contact with this person.
Yeah.
And you come up with a word, clear your brain, come up with a word, and just repeat that word until you get into a rhythm where you're just focusing purely on the other person, not concerned at all about yourself. You're just there, present in the moment.
Yeah, and
Your partner.
You're giving them the chance to see their line, and it's about timing too. And I think that's what's going to be the training, is being able to have the timing between lines, right?
And it's hard.
It is
I mean,
hard.
we're saying this, and it sounds so easy, like, oh, you're repeating a line,
Yeah, I was quite
happy,
stressed out afterwards, actually, and
and especially to maintain eye contact with somebody that you just met for that long. I mean, that's
that's a weird experience. Like a lot of people, they go out of their way to not make eye contact in the
someone
world,
you don't
right?
know,
Especially somebody you don't know,
eyes.
because you don't want to make that connection with somebody. Because let's face it, people don't trust each other, right? That's, I think, what it comes down to, is the trust in the world is gone. And so now we're forced to, sit down, stare at our scene partner in the eyes, and you can't move while you're doing the whole exercise. And what you're building is that connection, the observation of the character, because when you observe somebody properly, you can react to them properly. I think that's what it's going to build. And so that helps with acting, I guess, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you hold eye contact for maybe a minute, repeating these lines, and you come out of it, and I mean, me personally, I felt pretty rattled.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
It's hard to do, but and you feel, I'd say, vulnerable.
Yeah,
you put yourself out there, especially in front of a group of people that you just met.
Yeah.
Right? They're all watching you, analyzing you, and it's hard to stay focused and not crack and come out of this connection that you have with the other person.
Exactly. And then to make it even worse, they throw in a provocative statement that you have to do to rattle your scene partners. So
it starts with one word and then becomes a behavior.
Yeah, it becomes a behavior. So you have to say something completely absurd, even obscene. We're not going to repeat any of it because it's quite obscene.
Yeah, it gets vulgar.
It gets very vulgar, and you want to
I mean, well, if I may, as an
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
the first exercise was merely saying a feature of the person's face,
Right.
like nose or eyebrows.
Right.
But then it became behavior. So my personal experience, somebody turned to me, and the
Yeah.
first thing they said about my behavior was uptight.
Yeah.
That messed with me.
Yeah,
and
that
then,
must
and
have
then
messed
I'm
with you.
sitting there for
Yeah.
about a minute, repeating uptight to this person,
And you're
we're just
like,
going back and forth.
what's making you think that I'm uptight? You know, is
Oh,
that, you know,
it's-
you know what I mean?
It,
Yeah.
it rattles you.
Yeah, it does
I'm
rattle
thinking,
you.
oh great, now I'm
And
now
it's
I'm tense.
and it's funny because how we want to be so nice, right? So, you know, like,
Pleasant, yeah.
especially in this day and age where there's all these social norms now. Maybe not on Facebook, but in the media, you can't be like rude to people. You can't be racist. You can't be creepy to a lady, in the media anyway, or really anywhere. And we're forced to do all those things in a closed setting, in the worst possible way, with everybody understanding that's going to happen though. So I guess there is a context where you're in an environment where everybody's understanding that's going to happen, right? You ask permission for that.
You're
in
the shit together.
Yeah, you're in the
mud
shit together. Sorry, excuse me. And so I guess in that sense, it's kind of, if you think about it that way, it's kind of okay. And I found myself, when I was with a lady found myself trying to not be politically incorrect,
With what you're saying.
with what
how
I'm
you're- how
saying,
you're
yeah.
behaving,
So, and they're like, get rid of that. Don't worry about that. You are now in a setting that's completely non-existent from society.
It's not a judging space.
It's not a
You're gonna
judging
get
thing.
judged,
It's just
yeah.
an exercise in humility, I guess. Really, right?
Yeah.
It's basically to
Letting your guard down.
Yeah, letting your guard down, tearing your wall down, getting rid of your whatever persona you have, and just observing your scene partner.
Yes,
And
thank
that's
you
going to
so
build.
much.
That's going to build. Observation's going to build mimicking people almost, right? Or being able to pick up mannerisms from real life people and use that in your work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so that's interesting.
So that was, I mean, day 2. I feel like we did probably one of the hardest
Yeah.
things that we'll do in
agree.
Meisner, and I mean, that's just scratching the surface.
That was
really.
day
That's
2.
Scratching the surface, and
And I'll tell you, after that, I was so stressed out.
I felt drained.
Yeah.
So drained. I went home and I couldn't,
Really? Yeah.
I
Trouble?
was still messed up.
That's,
Yeah, because you really put yourself out there and exhaust yourself. So
It's kind of nice today that we didn't have to do anything like that. So yeah, it's a great experience. I'm looking forward to the rest of this week, and of course, being that it's day 3 only.
day 3.
One thing I do want to talk about is the movement stuff we did, the exercises we did today, this morning actually, that we first did when we warmed up.
Warm up.
So basically, for theater acting, there's very similar movements as ballet. So we're doing this warm up that ballet dancers do, and actually our teacher suggested that we do some ballet if we can. I don't think I'm going to have time for that, and so we're just doing the 12-point moving system. Like reaching different places, and I think that's going to showcase the theatrical work, right? Where you're
And different movements.
different movements, yeah. When you're in the theater,
Help with different behaviors.
Yeah.
Whether you're being aggressive or
That's right.
lighthearted.
and it's 3 dimensions too, which is you know what I mean. So like there's some depth to the movement, so it's not just 2D, 2 dimensions. So interesting day, and I look forward to the rest of the week.
There we go.
All right.
3.
Okay, so it's day 4 at the Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I'm sitting here with Daryl and Zach. Zach and me have the same last name, actually. I just found out the other day, so he's like a long-lost brother. So today, I just want to talk about today. We want to talk about what we did this morning and the movement, the movement. So how did you guys find it?
Oh, it was interesting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I found it pretty fun, like just moving around a lot, being self-aware, and like trying to move around your obstacles without crashing into other people and stuff.
Yeah.
And like she taught you how to be like aware of everything, like your surroundings, what you're touching, how you are, because she gives you like an adjective, and you want to try to be like that adjective or noun, whatever it is, and you want to try to act like that while you're walking without like using your arms too much and stuff. More your inner thoughts being that character, whatever that is.
That's right.
And trying to like show it off maybe in your face or just like the way you walk.
Yeah, and it was good because we started off with like yoga exercises, and this guy here, he was quite funny, doing like a Cirque du Soleil type of thing when we were doing the movement. How'd you?
Yeah.
What was in your mind when you were doing that? You know?
Mostly I was just trying to pull out whatever position I could think of.
Quite some imagination, by the way. So, and then we got into like different types of emotions, right? Like lover or what, you know, like artist, yeah, warrior, and that was interesting dynamics because it did really change how you walked, right? And basically, we're just walking around in a room, you know, weaving in and out of each other. We're going through this part of this play called The Imposters, and we all had turns on going up and acting out the play, basically. And I thought that was really interesting because we didn't know what was going on at all in that play until they started talking, right?
Yeah.
And we got a pretty good idea of it, and the premise was two actors that were out of work, they were arguing about each other, and then they went into character on the streets performing, right? What do you guys think about that?
That was fun. As usual, all the classes are pretty fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of put me out of my comfort zone when he made us, for like the scene study, made us do those expressions and stuff. But I think that's good because I want to be less self-conscious and try to like just open up and do whatever.
I see that from you a little bit, that you're holding back a little bit, just because that persona. The interesting thing today is when we were having to look in each other's eyes. That was kind of disturbing, wasn't it? You guys find that?
I don't know. I found that lesson like where you do the repetition staring into their eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that helped a lot. That wasn't actually too bad. It was funny, like whenever I see someone smirking or I smirk a little bit, then it's like it goes both ways.
I know.
Both of us start laughing.
I know, and it's hard to not, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to probably learn not to, you know. And so I think what's gonna happen is once you get that connection with somebody, that's when your real good work starts happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you start slow, then start building your way up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's day 4 here at the Academy of Dramatic Arts. Stay tuned and subscribe on YouTube. It's right down here. And thank you to our guests, Daryl and Zach. And this is Colin, and this is day 5 of the Victoria Academy of Dramatic Arts. Just going through a couple of the notes that I have here about our day on Thursday that I never got a chance to talk about. So we did a scene study on Thursday, and the scene is from The Imposters. So basically what we're doing in class is we are finding the objective. So whatever the characters need to do to another character. So basically the objective is the one character's name is Arthur needs to change something in Maurice. And I've explained the premise of the play before, but now we're actually breaking it down. So then there's 2 actions, and then there's subtext. So subtext means you take a line of dialogue and what he really means in his line of dialogue. Just like real life, we hide things from each other when we're talking. So, for example, Arthur was mad at Maurice, and so he's had the line, it's all right, but really he means that it wasn't all right, and he's actually mad inside, but they're friends, so he doesn't want to tell him that, right? So that's what we're learning on Thursday, and then Friday, we just had some movement stuff again. So we were doing some voice with movement. Basically, we sat in a circle and we would send out a belting tone, and then we would have to move around and pass it on to the next person in line. And so I would start with say like a and then I would do something crazy inside the circle, and then be very dramatic, and then pass it on, bring it back to the next person, and he would have to do my last motion. So basically, another element was I would take that motion that I was passed to, and then change it into a different motion. So there was some really funny motions going on there, and of course exaggerated. So, but it was fun. It was very what was the word? It's very let's go of yourself, I guess. In other words, so you basically just have to do whatever comes to your mind. So let's go of yourself. That's what all this is building. Just making things up on the fly and building up your immunity to self-image, basically, where you don't want to maybe let yourself out of its cage. And so that was our Friday. So it wasn't too much going on there, but it's been a very, very crazy week. It's life-changing. I recommend anybody who's struggling with anything, because I know that there's lots of folks that are struggling these days, to maybe take an arts and crafts course of some sort and release that emotion out into some work of some sort. That's what I did. I've been struggling with mental health all my life, and I found that finally I have an outlet to let it go, and not on Facebook. So, and I take all my life experience and I'm putting it into my work. So I don't know, it's just something that I think everybody should try once in their lives, whether that's music, whether that's theater acting, or dance class. I've been taking dance classes as well, so it's paying off a lot. Just something, and it doesn't have to be a gender specific thing, it doesn't have to be something that you're scared to do because it's maybe not politically correct for your area. So I just suggest everybody do it. Maybe even on a weekend or something, take an acting class, or as a hobby even, because it's booming. Let's face it, it's booming right now. I signed with an agent on yesterday, and they told me there was this kid that was on a movie. He was 17, and he was doing some background work, which is about $200 to $400 a day if you're non-union or union. And the director asked him to say one line only, and raise his hand up in the air. And he was paid retroactive for all 5 days because he now has a film credit, and he got a check for 5 days for $20,000. So if you don't think there's money in this, there is. So, and it's not something that I'm doing because I want to show my face. I don't even want that. I want to be able to make a business out of this, whether that's in directing, producing, traveling. Yeah, so that's just what I wanted to share with you guys today. I will be posting this video on YouTube later tonight, and then every week I will update with another video until I feel that we're ready to showcase some of the stuff going on inside the school. And I have I have permission from the school and the students to do this, and going forward, and just to show you guys what happens. Yeah, I think it's going to be excellent. All right, well, thank you, and subscribe right down there. Woohoo!